Good morning, South Middle School. Today is Tuesday, September 22nd. It is the fifth day of our school year. We can expect today is going to be a little bit cloudy all day long, but it is going to be getting warmer every day this week with a high of 68. We have birthday greetings this morning for two of our students, Nikola Marjanovic, happy birthday, and Christopher Saros, happy birthday. Also, special happy birthday greetings go to Mrs. Cotter. Please rise and recite with me the Pledge of Allegiance. Let's begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And now a moment of silence. Thank you very much. We like to start every day with an attitude of gratitude. Yesterday, for those students who were returning in person, it was a very successful morning. All in all, there was a lot of stress, I think, coming into the building and also making sure that everyone had their schedules. Of course, that was also true for the folks who are at home, whether you're in the remote academy or whether you're in cohort B. And everyone wanted to try really hard to make sure that they got to the spaces that they needed to be. So I have to say that as I was heading home yesterday, I was feeling very grateful for our admin assistants, our administrative assistants in the front office, Mrs. McGuire and Mrs. Leiden, who spent all morning answering phone calls about buses, about schedules, about Aspen, about guidance counselors, and did it all with a smile. So I think it's important to say thank you to the people who make our lives possible, and Mrs. McGuire and Mrs. Leiden did a great job yesterday helping everyone know exactly where they should be and what they could do to get there successfully. So thank you. As we're sort of advancing into the school year here, and we're getting settled into the schedule, I think folks are realizing that for the students returning hybrid, there is a small portion of our day that is going to be in person. And for the cohort A kids, you started to experience that yesterday, and hopefully found that to be rewarding. For the cohort B students, you'll experience that later in the week. But for all students, it's important to remember too that a lot of our community this year is going to exist online only, right? So for the remote academy students, all of your relationships are going to be built through those online interactions. And even for the hybrid students, a lot of the work that you do during the school year is going to be done online. So it's really important to be respectful in those spaces, those online spaces, as much as you'll be at your home, and that's a place where you tend to be with friends, where things can be a little bit more casual. It's important during the school time that you are handling that the same way that you would handle time in school, right? So I do think that we tend to be a little bit more careful of people's feelings and kind of not putting our feelings first as much when we are in school, where it's very clear you're part of the larger community, versus when you're at home, when you tend to be with friends and family whose interests are more aligned with your own. So when I think of an example of that, I do have to say the first one that pops to mind is the privacy of all the students that are on a remote meet in a remote classroom with you, right? So I know that when I was hopping on to some Google Meets last week and yesterday, it was really fun to see all the faces, right? And it was really fun to see all the work that people were doing and, even get a glimpse of some of the backgrounds that people had set up for themselves as a classroom space. And honestly, I was kind of tempted to. One of my first instincts was to take out my camera and take a picture and say, "Oh, my, remote school is happening." But I did stop myself because I realized that would be a huge privacy violation for a lot of people. And unless I have permission from everyone in that classroom, it would be not my place at all to take a picture that's potentially projecting into somebody's home. And then if I were to even post that on the school website, even for the best of reasons, that would not be fair. Now, of course, any picture that you post, you then have no control over if somebody were to take it and maybe not use it for the best of intentions. So I just want to be clear that nobody has any permission at any time to take a photo or a video of any of your remote classes. This is very important, and you need to realize that any of that would be not only a violation of the rights of the people that are in the Google Meet with you, but also at risk of creating a situation where you would be involved in bullying. Even if you took a photo for the right reasons or a video with no ill intentions, if somebody were to then use that material later, or if you were to even just post it on social media, even without commentary, you would be in violation of our cyberbullying policy. So it is really important that students know, I understand that it's a little bit exciting, it's a little bit novel, and you might even want to, even if you were teasing somebody in good nature and or even maybe with a nastier intention, that when you're doing this stuff online, you're leaving a giant paper trail that could lead to serious consequences for yourself, for your friends, and we really don't want to go there. So I'm reaching out this morning to sort of remind you all of your obligation. When we talked about the rules the other day, I talked about being respectful at all times, and I did talk about being responsible. And it's important to realize that when we're in class, you can often be reminded if you're acting irresponsibly, but when you are at home, it's a lot more obligation on yourself to realize that the responsible choice isn't always the first thing that occurs to you. The first thing that occurs to you as being fun or interesting or cool is sometimes a very self-centered act, and it's important to be responsible enough to stop, think it through, think if it could violate any rules, or think what any long-term consequences could be for yourself. So I'm telling you this morning that taking photos or videos of any of your classrooms will land you in serious trouble at some point. And so if you do have anything that you've posted or anything like that, you want to make sure that it is taken down. If you need to apologize to anybody for anything that has happened in the last few days, I would make sure to do that because you want to make sure that you are in good standing and that we can move forward together with the same understanding about what privacy means in online remote classes and also what it means to be respectful and responsible at all times, even in virtual school. If you have any questions about that, you can always contact me or Ms. Pagliarulo, who will certainly review the rules with you, but also help you problem solve some situations. You can, of course, also always talk to your guidance counselor. And if there's been any mistakes that have been made in the last few days, that might be a person to reach out to talk through the best way to resolve any solutions so that you can move forward with a clean conscience and make sure that we don't make any mistakes of that nature going forward. All right, so with that, with a mutual understanding, we're going to move on to our day. And so I'll remind you today and always to be good to yourself, take care of each other, and take care of your school.